Hi, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Nalo's Thrift Talk. If
Hi.
you are tuning in, we just tried doing a little countdown before we went live so that hopefully it doesn't get cut off like it has been for people. And I hope that helps fix the problem. If you are new here, we are a weekly live YouTube show all about reselling and thrifting and different ways that we use secondhand items in our everyday lives. And Nay, want to introduce today's episode?
Yes. So since 2022 is quickly approaching, we decided to do a goals show where we're each stating some 5 goals each about and trying to hold ourselves accountable and just some details about what each goal entails and what we are hoping for. So
Mm-hmm.
and these are also, some of them are personal goals, some of them are reseller goals. I know I added a little bit of a personal goal as well, but
I did. I felt like my personal goals kind of overlap. So some of mine are a little bit of both, but definitely thinking about our reselling businesses and what we'll be doing next year. And I know Nate, your dog was going on an adventure outside. Sounds like
yes, he was outside. The door was right behind me, so he was making it clear that he wanted to come in. So yes, so our so we'll start off with our first segment. What are we wearing that's thrifted today?
So I sort of copped out this week because for some reason I could not fall asleep last night. And I'll talk about a little bit why maybe in the next segment, but I'm just wearing my favorite thrifted flannel, which I'm sure I've worn a million times before, and a pair of my favorite Girlfriend Collective yoga pants, which I bought on Poshmark and have talked about before. It's my favorite brand. And I love getting them secondhand because they hold up forever. So I know that they still have tons of wear left, even if I am not the first owner. So I'm in like a flannel and yoga pants mode today.
Oh, there's nothing like a good flannel. So yeah. I'm kind of in the same mood today, but I did put on something different. So although I still have my yoga pants on the bottom. So I am wearing this amazing, it's actually a storybook knit sweater. And if anybody that knows me knows that I love giraffes. So I don't remember, I think somebody sent it to me like a few years back.
So perfect. When you
like
sent
probably
me
like 5 years ago, and I wish I could remember who it was because I know they thrifted it for me. But it is it's wonderful. And again, it's one of the items that I couldn't wear for a while because, I gained some weight, and it's a medium, and I tried it on today. I found it. It was, kind of in the back of my closet, and I was like,
yeah.
I'm going to try this on, and it fits. So yeah, so I was really happy with that. And here are some pictures of
Nate sent me these pictures earlier, and I saw it, and like my jaw literally dropped for a second. It's like, oh my god, this is the most perfect sweater ever made for Nay.
So here's the label. So Storybook Knits. They make like kitschy, kind of like cutesy kind of, sweaters like that with they're very themed. And so you can see it's got like some sequins on it.
Super cute.
Yeah, there's the back. So I didn't turn around, but the back is cute too. And it's got those novelty buttons on it. They're actually like giraffe, but they're like ornamental buttons. So with a Storybook knit, the actual buttons are on the inside. So
okay, so it's more decorative.
Ornamental, yeah. Yes, yes. So this is the perfect sweater for me because I have an inexplicable love for giraffes. I always have. So yes. So yeah. So and our thrifted home decor items of the week. I have one here.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So mine is, I think I've shown this on the show before, but since Hanukkah is coming up, it's full of coffee, so I don't want to tilt it too much. But it is my thrifted Hanukkah mug. So you can see on the inside it says Hanukkah. It's Starbucks. So It is a Starbucks mug, and I thrifted it for a couple dollars at some point. So I actually use it all year round because it holds more than it looks like it would. I think it's
That's the best thing about the Starbucks mugs is they hold
like
so much
14
coffee.
ounces. Yeah, so it's but I use it, but of course, around this time of year with Hanukkah coming, I brought it out and I thought I would use it for the show today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Heather says you had it last year too. I think I do remember it from last year.
Yeah, I've definitely shown it before, but
Jason says you're gonna break it. Well, you've had it for at least 2 years now, so that's
it actually sits in my kitchen cabinet, so it's
And Heather was asking if those sweaters, the storybook sweaters, sell well.
They used to sell better. It depends.
Depend
I think it depends on the theme, on what you have. I know the newest Hags ones sell better. There's also Quacker Factory. That's like kind of the other brand that is similar. I think they used to do a lot better. There used to be like some really big fanatics, and they do seem to sell better on some platforms like eBay. I would never sell this ever because I will never find another one like this, and it's me. But yeah, but they can sell. So what do you have today, Lola?
Okay. So I was going to first share the thing that I did not buy. So I am hosting Christmas at my house this year. And I decided I really wanted to get a new dining room table. So I found this table that I absolutely fell in love with at auction. It's located in Hartford, so not too far away from me. And I bid on it last night and I did not win. And I didn't want to see it when it finally finished at. And it finished at $300. And I'm kicking myself right now because I love this table so much. I could have just kept I was hoping to get it for like $250, but I knew that was probably a stretch. But like 300's like, oh my God, if I kept bidding, it probably would have gone to 350. But like even then, I would have been fine. I could have paid 400. I would have been fine. I was looking at some of the solds of this table at like antique stores, and it sells for like $1,500. So wow. I have a feeling that an antique seller bought this, and it's going to be at a store near me soon with a $1,500 price tag on it. And
oh wow, I like it how it looks with the leaves.
Yeah, so it's perfect for my small apartment because it expands with the leaf for everyone for dinner, like Christmas dinner. But when we don't have family over, we can just keep it smaller and use that space. So yeah, so then I was up all night trying to find anything remotely like as good in my area, and there is another auction that's also in Connecticut, a little bit further away. Yeah, so that was why I think it didn't go for way more, because they misspelled Brasilia and they misspelled the key word that people would be searching for this style. So it flew under a lot of people's radars. I only happened to find it because I was combing through all the local auctions near me trying to find good dining room table. So this will haunt me till the day I die.
But you never know what's going to turn up. I mean,
yeah, I hope whoever bought it enjoys it, and so I'm not over that. But the item that I did want to share today, the other thing I've been looking at is silver plate, because I wanted to get like a fun, inexpensive silver plate silverware set to use for, Thanksgiving, Christmas dinner. Thank you, Heather. We'll find something better. I don't know how you can top that. That table is beautiful, but hopefully they're great deals, great thrift finds in my future. Thank you, guys. That's really sweet. But so I have been trying to learn a little bit more about silver plate markings and stuff like that. And this actually relates to one of my goals for later on. So we'll talk about that more later. But I remembered I had this silver plate set, which is in horrible condition right now. And I got this at Philly AIDS Thrift. We were together. This was many years ago. Well, not many, like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Yeah. And I noticed that each of the individual pieces was, they're kind of rubbed off now, but they each had their own price tag. And the guy at the counter was like, oh, well, these all go together. So I'm just going to charge you for the $8.99 that was on one of them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And so I was looking these up. I mean, they're not worth a ton. Like, I don't think I would have made money. I would have made money flipping the whole set, but like this is worth about $8.99 on eBay. So I don't think the comps are like, there's not a lot of them there. But I definitely liked the look of them kind of nesting together.
Oh, I like the way they nest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a little decor piece. And I did like the patina, but I think at this point it's a little ridiculous. So I do want to practice polishing silver plate, and I think I will try and practice on this set this weekend. And then hopefully in my future, I will have both a fun silver plate silverware set and a dining room table. Yes, Heather, I was looking for some estate sale listings around me. So that may be another thing I do this weekend. I know Chris is on board. So as I've mentioned before, I don't drive, but my spouse Chris does. And they're on board trying to find some, decor for hosting Christmas. So we might be doing some estate sales this weekend.
Fun. Yeah. So our next segment is, there we go. So I have actually a couple of my sales these, I was shocked, Lola. They sold at the end of November. They were from a blue box. They were actually from not the 10 for 10, the thrash pack blue box. So it was $15 for the box. And usually there's flaws, but there was nothing wrong with these. But they sat for, gosh, probably almost 2 years. Well over a year. They've just been sitting, and they sell, lo and behold, they sell for full asking price of $49.99 plus shipping at the end of November to a buyer in Connecticut. So no rhyme or reason.
Very cool. And I definitely know I would have probably looked at those because of the name, but I guess maybe if I saw them in the thrift store, if it's not the sweater, just
I think the sweaters still have some momentum. Don't call them Cosby sweaters, by the way.
Yeah.
But the Coogee brand in itself has really slowed down, I think. So it was just happened that I was just shocked that they sold now. And then this was another shocker that it actually sold for 28. I took a best offer of 28.
Still for that brand.
Faded Glory, another blue box item. And I mean, Faded Glory is a Walmart brand for a pre-owned Walmart dress. I mean, it was probably that or less when it was new at Walmart. So
and I do find in general, as a rule of thumb, maxi dresses tend to hold their value.
Yeah. And it was a plus size and all, but still a Walmart brand. So that just shipped off today. So I was happy with that sale too. So so you just never know. I mean, list everything all year. And this is more of a summery dress too. It had cold shoulders and
Yeah.
So I mean, you just never know. So, and we have a few announcements. So next week, happy Thanksgiving. We will not be doing a show next week. We're just going to take the week off and be with our families. And we hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoy the day with your families. And the following week, December 3rd, we don't have a topic. So we're asking you guys to please, if you can please give us some ideas for show topics. We love viewer input. If you want to be a guest too, let us know and send us your suggestions to nailothrift@gmail.com. We'll announce what idea we have for the topic for the 3rd of December, but right now we don't have a topic.
So. And we do have some future topics already kind of on the horizon. And if we get a bunch of ideas, we might save it for next year, but we are always looking for the show ideas that you guys want to see, want to hear about, want to learn about. So,
well, if you want to be a guest, Jason, if you're volunteering yourself to be a guest,
we could do certainly. We could do a little cocktail show. We could mix cocktails and sell tiki mugs.
Yeah. So, then. Also, we want to wish everybody a happy Hanukkah. So, because that will be happening on the 28th, it starts. So that'll be before our next show. So the beginning of Hanukkah. So, so happy Hanukkah to all of our wonderful viewers who celebrate. We hope you have a wonderful holiday. And that brings us into our show.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I guess, do you want to start? I guess I can start with.
Sure. We can go back and forth.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll do that. So, okay, let me get. Alrighty. So my first one is to reevaluate and purge my dead inventory. So I realize I have several stale listings that I've not sold for a very, very, very long time. I mean, some have, I had a brick wall, like exposed brick wall in my old house, and I have listings that still have that wall behind. And I haven't lived in that house for like 2.5 years, so that shows how old some of my listings are. Some of them I might be able to, it just might be a matter of refreshing photos, the description, adding item specifics, or deleting them all together, and or redonating items too. Sometimes it might be a matter of moving a listing to a different platform. So a couple years ago when I listed some of these items, I might have had like something really super trendy and cute that I didn't, and when I wasn't even selling on Depop at that point, and now I can move it over to Depop because it might sell better there, for example. This will also help me to get organized, because if I'm not storing inventory that just isn't worthwhile, I have more room to organize, more room for better inventory. And sometimes it might be a matter of realizing that an item just isn't worth it to sell monetarily too. So if I have an item marked down to $8 on Poshmark, I'm only making $5. And at that point, is it really worth selling? Mm-hmm. And I also think moving forward, this makes me pickier while sourcing and thinking of sourcing items for a higher ROI, or selecting inventory moving forward. If it's something that's going to sit or I'm iffy about, I'm going to be more inclined to not buy it, even if it's like at a cheap price, like if it's a dollar sale or something. And remember that the stale inventory and duds come from previous thrifting decisions. So making better decisions while sourcing moving forward is definitely key. And I wanted to, so this is, so I did search, so I did some, I wanted to show my thing. So I did, so what I think I'm going to do, what I did is I'm going to go through all my listings, but I sorted lowest to highest. And I think a lot of my duds are falling to the bottom because I've really dropped the price and going. Mm-hmm. So you can see some of these items, like this CD. I don't even know who Michael Smith is, but that CD has been sitting for like 3 Christmases. I don't think it's going to sell. Jason can chime in there, but so I think I'm just going to go through and see, some of these items just are maybe like this tie. I don't think it's going to sell. Maybe they're just worth just redonating and moving on. Same thing with Poshmark. On Poshmark, they take 20%. So, I mean, if I'm selling an $8 item, I'm making $5. Is it really worth it after I've put the time and effort into it? And some of these items, I think, Jennifer Lopez, that's a brand that is not going. Nobody wants her stuff, So it's been sitting and now it's $8, and I think it's time to just purge it. So that's the kind of thing that I'm definitely gonna do. So, yeah. So, and it's the same thing with Depop. I'm gonna go through that too. So, there's definitely, and Mercari. And that's another point that I have, that I'm one of my items. But I only have 11 items on Mercari and they're sitting. So I think I need to like move some of my inventory along and list other inventory, So yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah. It's all a matter of, it's
Angelique has a great question. If you would lot up some of your duds. So the first thing that I thought of is that I really like sending old like clothing items to ThredUp. You tend to not make a ton of money on each item, but it's more than zero. And sometimes you're pleasantly surprised. So there's been a few times when something sold for a lot more than I was expecting on ThredUp. And like the payout I got was more than I expected on ThredUp. I don't know personally if I would lot, just because that's still like one more time I have to think about and deal with those items. But I'm curious what you're thinking.
I think, I guess it depends on what it is, honestly. Like if I have, like for sewing patterns, I might have, I know I have some low cost sewing patterns in my store. I might just lot those up because they're easy to lot.
Yeah, that's a great, and buyers expect to buy lots of those.
But as far as like different clothing items and all, I just, a lot of them are different sizes. I mean, if they were the same size, I could, but they might be different styles. And so I think if it's, it depends on what the item is, but that is a good suggestion.
And Jess says that cosmetic lots do well on Posh. That's good to know. And Posh does seem like a platform that lots tend to do well on, just because of the way their shipping structure is. So I could see maybe like exercise clothes, especially with the new year coming, might be a good lot if you have things like that to put on Posh. But
yeah. So your first one is, sorry. Okay.
Okay. So my first goal is to set small goals every month. So I was looking back and thinking about, we did a goals show. Did we do one? We did one last year. No, we did one our first year. And I feel like I sort of start off the new year really strong with New Year's resolutions. And this is both in my reselling life as well as my, other parts of my life. I feel like this is always something I do. I start off strong, couple months, I'm really, really into whatever it is that I've, decided to do, and I keep up with it really well. Then it sort of fizzles out. And then by June, July, especially as like summer comes, and I feel like with summer, routines change, you go on vacation and stuff, it's just harder to keep up those, like that momentum. So one thing that I really want to do is to start each month with a specific goal that, check back to my list of goals from the beginning of the year on the 31st of each month, going into the next month, set specific goals and try to just keep like on target for those specific things, so that it's just kind of breaking things down into smaller pieces. So, and the other thing that I'm trying to keep in mind is that, with my health, like sometimes it feels like things are a moving target because I've started to get a little bit better, but it's hard to predict exactly what that means for how much I can do. And I don't want to either, push myself too hard and fail and then feel terrible because I failed, or not push myself hard enough and not try to, kind of keep moving forward and seeing how much I'm capable of. So I think doing monthly goals will really help with being kind of flexible in that and sort of adjusting month to month. And I was brainstorming what these goals might look like. So for reselling, I think that would be maybe a dollar amount of sales, a number of sales, percentage growth, maybe instead, depending on what, makes the most sense for me. Probably early in the year, I'm just going to set like a number of new listings, and then maybe couple that with like another one of my goals, which I haven't talked about yet. But so say like Nay was talking about listing on different platforms. So maybe my specific goal for April is listing 30 listings on Etsy or something like that. And I would really like to, instead of just doing an annual goal setting episode, maybe we check in quarterly or we check in mid-year and kind of revisit some of these. And, really, because I feel like the show, like you guys in the chat every week and watching it every week after the live is such a great little community. And so I think it'd be really fun to kind of keep checking back with each other and keeping yourselves accountable here. So that's definitely something that I think would work really well for next year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's good too, to take baby steps,
Yeah.
not to bite off like much that you feel like it's overwhelming. Because I get overwhelmed even looking at my goals list right now, and I have to remind myself I don't need to get this all done in 1 month or 1 week or 1 day. I have this is for the whole year. Plus, if I don't get everything done, at least I've worked on it. At least I've contributed to my goal. So
yeah. And Brian makes a great point. If you miss a goal 1 month, you can try again next month. It's a lot harder when you're thinking sort of like of your annual goals. And at the end of the year, like, oh my God, I let a whole year go by and I didn't accomplish that one thing. But every month it's like, okay, it's a fresh month. I can start again. Last month maybe was a wash, but this month is different.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. And make the goals realistic for you. Definitely.
Yeah.
And to feel like, I'm only competing with myself in some ways, because I think especially with social media, it's so easy to look at other people and think, oh, they're setting the bar for me. But we don't know everything about what that person is up to, or, you know, what they aren't sharing. We're only seeing a slice of their life. And so to like really just feel like you're competing with yourself and you're trying to do better than your last month or whatever, I think would be really good for me personally.
Yeah. And yeah, so I this is always something that's a challenge for me. I'm a very creative person. I'm not that like that side of the brain that computes math and does Excel spreadsheets and does, that's just not me. As a matter of fact, when I do organize things, that's when I can't find things. It's when I put things where they belong, or, you know, where they're supposed to be. It's when, so my by organize, it's more like organized than a way. So, you know, that doesn't mean it's going to be like, you know, Marie Kondo-esque, you know, perfect. It means that I would like to get all of my inventory in. I've got some really broken tubs. I've got, you know, I've got some things like stored in bags and stuff. I need to get, like, it would be much easier for me if I didn't have to go through 5 bins looking for one shirt, if I had all the sweaters in one bin and all the jeans in one. And, you know, so I would like to get my actual, you know, my inventory more organized. I also have a storage unit sitting in Philly that I'm still paying for that doesn't have necessarily inventory, but it has, there's nothing for sale there, but stuff that I could list and stuff that I could purge. And I'm for that. Yeah. So I really need to get there and get that cleared out. So I'm not paying for that anymore, because that's just a big waste. And I would like to organize and designate an area for my shipping supplies, keep my shipping supplies inventoried more. Because, you know, I've got poly bags here, and I've got some poly bags sitting on a shelf in the laundry room. And I've got, you know, I should have everything in one area, so that when I run out of a certain size or something, I'm not scrambling to get it, you know, and maybe paying more because I need it faster. So that's another thing. And I would like to, I definitely need to get new bins. I said that. And removed unlisted inventory that's stored with listed inventory and get it organized. So I do have a lot of my bins have stuff that is for sale and the other stuff that I haven't listed yet, which makes no sense, because the stuff that's not listed isn't going to get listed if it's sitting there. And it's also makes it harder for me to find the stuff when I sell it that's listed, because I've got it sitting there with unlisted inventory, which is really ridiculous. So I really need to, and hopefully that'll get my listing motivation. Like if I pull that inventory out and I say, oh my goodness, look at all this stuff I still have to list, that's going to get me more motivated. So I think that this also extends to my personal goals. I do want to get, like, you know, get my house and my living space more organized as well. So it all goes hand in hand. So that's something that I will work on. I found this actually, and it's funny because this is actually, of all places, this article is from Glad Trash. Yeah, it's like, so obviously it's also an advertisement, but they actually have some really good tips about the way to tackle a cluttered room. You know, it says like you should have a box for trash, a box to give away and sell, a box for storage, and a box to put away. And it actually, like, it goes through like kind of methodical steps to organize the process of organizing, if that makes sense. So yeah, so I can put this link in the show notes when but it's kind of interesting though. Like I was actually looking, I'm like, this is actually a really good article for Glad. I was shocked. So yeah, so whoever wrote that was actually, they did a great job on it. So has some good suggestions. So I might be taking some of those suggestions. Okay.
Yeah. So Nellie says that she does one thing each day: photo day, draft day, inventory day. Yes. I have been trying that out, and I think I've talked about this before, but I always go back and forth between doing that and doing individual items one at a time. And it almost depends on my mood and like how well I can keep track of what I've already done. Because sometimes if I just have ADHD, and like if I try to do batches, I'll forget which ones I've already photographed or which ones I've already measured and stuff. And doing one item at a time, it's easier to just like check it off. And Heather said earlier, Heather, you're so sweet to say, like, I know my body, I know how much I can push myself. I think it's also true with our brains. Like we know our brains, we know what our brains can like how they think best, and that sometimes we just have to go with it, even if it isn't the most conventional way of doing things. Yeah. Heather, this is my greatest fear, is that someday someone's going to say that about my house. So I really also need to do some decluttering and downsizing. But my second goal, actually, that is what part of my later goal, but my second goal is to expand my comfort zone and keep learning. So that was why I brought the silver plate over, because I realized as I was looking for silverware that, this is a chance that, I'm currently looking for it as a buyer, but I could be cultivating that knowledge for later. And especially after last week when we did our thrift haul, and it sort of like really hit me how expensive thrift stores really are in this area, because you're in such a, I think of one of the like highest cost of living areas in the country.
I am, yes.
Your store was cheaper than mine. So
I know. Crazy. And I didn't expect that going into it. They've lowered their prices dramatically.
Yeah, which is great. And who knows, maybe that'll happen out here too. But like, yeah. I just really, we talk all the time about how lucky we were in Philly with the great thrifting. And I think you're still in a pretty good thrifting area. But where I am now, the thrift stores just don't have the same quality of stuff, and it's a lot more expensive. So I need to get pickier. And if I'm going to get pickier, it means I need to have a higher level of knowledge, where I can make better specific decisions and also see value in things that other people might not.
That's true. When you don't have, because you know what your comfort zone is. Like, I mean, I can still, for the most part, I can still find like high-end designer clothing, but it's not always plentiful. So if if I avoid the electronics section, and I might be passing up, some really good items that would make more of a profit than some of the designer clothing even.
Exactly. I think there's definitely some areas and also some sourcing opportunities that I avoid just because of the barrier to entry and like that knowledge. But the more work it is to gain that knowledge, the fewer people are going to be looking for those items. So that was also one of the reasons why I was bidding on furniture, because I also wanted just to have that experience so that I'm more confident bidding on lots that I see listed near me. Because I think some of those, like Heather talks about estate sales all the time, those opportunities in my area are probably going to be the smarter way for me to source than thrift stores. And I also just really love, learning about the like in-depth details of different things that people collect and different things that are, antiques and things that relate to my own hobbies, like cameras and vintage sewing stuff. So if I can keep cultivating that expertise, then I can, really like dig into those categories and focus on sourcing in those categories. And then that might also make it easier for me to like find lots on eBay that are worth flipping and buy those and invest a little bit more in them than I would in a few items at the thrift store. But just, be confident that I know I can get my return on that. So the other bonus about that too is that all of that thing that I learned can end up being good topics for our show. So I think that that's going to be kind of my emphasis for the next year, is to really focus on developing my expertise, expanding my comfort zone in how and where I source, and then hopefully talking about all of those things on future episodes.
Yeah, that's good. And I think, we had talked about this as a show suggestion that we should do like a thrifting outside of your comfort zone kind of show. So not for the next show because it would be too hard to go over Thanksgiving, but I think, maybe in the new year, that's something that would be fun to do.
Definitely. Yeah. And I love the idea of like forcing ourselves to thrift electronics or something, but I also could see that being like a total disaster if we don't have some time to like study up first. So.
Yeah, but it could just be like general outside your comfort zone, see.
It could be anything. There's lots of things outside our comfort zone.
That might be a good way to get motivated, to get, started to get outside of our comfort zone. Okay, so my next one is explore and list on new platforms. So I am also, this also means that, so I have an Etsy store I've never I don't list on Etsy though. I should really take advantage of that. I've got a lot of yarn, craft items, vintage items that I think would really do well on Etsy, sewing patterns. And I am probably selling myself short by not listing those items there. So I want to start doing that. I only have 11 items on Mercari right now. So I want to ramp that up a little bit because nothing sells on Mercari, and it's because I never list and I don't have much listed on Mercari. So I sell like an item every few months on Mercari, and that's why. And I also want to get on I want to keep updated, keep current with the trending platforms, what's up and coming, because if you put all your eggs in one basket, we've talked about that before. We did a whole show on it. It's, you're gonna sell yourself short. You're gonna, and plus if something happens on one platform, what if the platform, I mean, I don't see this happening, but what if one platform goes out of business all of a sudden and they take, you've got to have a backup plan. You always have to have a backup plan. So, I think it's good to put, and there's different audiences on different platforms. So I would like to, so Vinted is one that I want to get on. And I was actually talking to Jess about this last night, and she was telling me that, there are no seller fees on Vinted. So so the way it works is the buyer, so you say what you want to get for the item, and then it's added into the buyer's cost. So the buyer ultimately pays the fees. So you have there's no percentage taken out on the seller side or anything. So, that's kind of genius, actually. So
that's so interesting. So when I first started selling on Poshmark, I joined both Poshmark and Vinted at the same time. And I just stuck with Poshmark because I got a lot more traction and more sales on there. But it's so interesting to hear that Vinted is still growing, and apparently it's also really big in the UK. I have a friend who lives in London who was saying that she buys and sells stuff on Vinted the way that we would on Poshmark, where she kind of revamps her wardrobe on a regular basis, and is pretty active there. So is it like Poshmark where you can only sell within your country, or do you know if you can sell internationally?
That I don't know. Jess would know because she sells there. So she's in the chat. She might be able to answer that question. But I just registered. I haven't listed anything yet, but I'm excited to get started on Vinted. It is, I think Lola, I could be wrong, but I think that it's going to be the next up and coming platform. It's gotten a lot more traction. I hear a lot more people discussing it, like in the Poshmark group I'm in. I hear chatter about it. So I think it's going to be one of the next big things. I think sales are still pretty slow there because, somebody was saying like, oh, I get like a sale every couple of weeks or something. It's probably, how much you list and what you're listing and all too, of course. But I would love to get on it, as another place to have, my
items. I'll have to re-download it and get back on there with you.
Yeah, so they have an app. They have a new app now and it's actually looks like it's really super easy to list. They have some great shipping discounts that other platforms don't seem to have. So so I think that, that's one that I definitely want to get on. And the other one that we talked about before was the Urban Outfitters. It's called Newly Thrift. So they do have the app now. It is live now. And, that's an up and coming one. It's a kind of rather new one, but I would like to explore it. So, I think that would be a fun one to explore too. So I do want to do that as well. So, and I want to get, like my Depop shop. I would like to list more on Depop, kind of, grow that a little more. Cause right now my main platforms are Poshmark and eBay. I sell on Depop, I sell on Mercari, but I want to grow Mercari, grow Depop, and branch out to some other places. So yeah. So that's next
great goal. And I definitely have that on my radar. I was a little bit like, I didn't want to be too ambitious, as per my first goal, to say that I definitely want to expand to new platforms. But it is one of those things that is sort of like something I'm considering. So maybe that's something we'll be doing together, but that I might have to decide kind of as the year goes on, like maybe I make 1 month a goal to be like, get my Etsy store running or something.
I mean, it doesn't have to be all at once. Like I'm not going to be listing on all these platforms. That I'm not going to be on all of them in January but I would like to get, okay. So labels are,
That's good to know.
yeah. So, but it's, I think it's one of the ones that's going to become more popular. So
it's pretty there. I know there was a platform that it seemed like they started out as formal dresses for like sorority women to sell their dresses to each other, which I thought was a really interesting, like very niche market. And then they sort of expanded from there. I think that might have been Curtsy.
Yeah, I listed one item on Curtsy. I never really got further than that. It seems like it's a slower path, and it actually was geared more towards college students, like that.
And so yeah, I think that was it, where they had like a very specific kind of audience that they started with, and then kind of grew out from there.
Yeah.
So talking about what were you saying, Nay, about your death piles and being a little bit disorganized? Like, I really relate to that.
Yeah, my organization is like, it's the Nay way. I'm never going to be Marie Kondo way. I'm never going to be like like OCD organized, like that kind. I mean, I think I have an OCD opposite, that like, because it's hard to.
I mean, I think that the public perception of OCD is very off, because I do have OCD. Like I have had diagnosed OCD since I was 16, and it has never manifested in me being organized ever.
That's if my organized messes get messed up, like if they get organized to like the standard, then I freak out because I can't find anything. So
totally.
If that makes sense.
Oh, Heather, that's such a good idea to have an exchange with your friends. I bet that would be really fun to do too with like my crafting friends, and do some craft material exchanges. My vacuum doesn't give me joy.
Yeah.
I am super, super tempted to get a Roomba for Christmas. I think
I have a dog, so I will not get a Roomba, because I heard a horror story about that.
Oh, no.
Somebody that had a dog, and the dog pooped in the middle of the night, and they had the Roomba cycle going, and there was poop all over the house. So yeah, so that just kind of scares me, because every once in a while my dog, very rare occasions, he'll have an accident, and I could just see that being.
So thankfully my cats don't do that, but the cat hair is definitely a reason why I would love a Roomba. But anyway, so I think some of that, disorganization just comes from having too much stuff. And I have more storage space in my current apartment than I did in my last house. But even then, I feel like I just have more stuff than I do storage, and I could buy more storage. But I also think I need to start with being honest with myself and parting with some of the things I just don't use. And what I was thinking about last night was how the thing that like really keeps me from just donating and taking a big bag of stuff to the thrift store is knowing what happens to so much of that stuff at the thrift store. Like having spent so much time at the bins and knowing that so much that doesn't get sold on the floor is going to eventually end up in the landfill. I feel really, really guilty getting rid of stuff.
Well, some donate to a homeless shelter, or
so that's
charity, something like that. There
exactly
are avenues. So
exactly what I want to do. So first, I think there's plenty of stuff that I could sell. It might not be something that I would buy to resell because there's not a ton of value in it, but it's more than zero. And if I just list all that stuff and then set that money aside, that's my fun money to spend on whatever I want. I think that would add up really fast, and it would just like feel like good momentum for getting stuff out of the house. And then also to think about how I can kind of intentionally, thoughtfully donate certain things. So like, take old linens to my local humane society, or I'm sure I have some like more professional clothing I don't wear because I haven't worked in a couple of years in, like a full-time like normal 9-to-5 job. But there's charities who collect clothes like that for people who need clothing for interviews, so if I can sort of intentionally find ways to like put what I have that I'm not using to good use, I will emotionally have an easier time getting rid of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's, I mean, like our local, we have a local charity that's doing a coat drive right now. So I'm going to get all like my kids' coats that don't fit, any coats that are in good condition that, I can even, I know I have one in my inventory that's been sitting, and, so I might donate some of the coats to that because I know it'll be going a good cause. So yeah.
Yeah. And Buy Nothing Group is such a great resource. I definitely have a like box of stuff that I want to list on the Buy Nothing Group, which maybe I'll finally get to do this weekend. The only thing about that, I just worry a little bit about safety. But I live in like an apartment complex. So there's always other people around.
Yeah, I think you'd be okay. So my next one is, so dedicate time to improving and creating my own branding and marketing materials. So so I'm a graphic designer, and I do really nice store designs and business cards and thank yous and stickers and everything for everyone else. And guess what? I have a pretty decently branded eBay store, but I don't have business cards. I did have business cards, but all the information is old. I haven't updated them or gotten new ones printed. I don't have package inserts that I've done recently. I don't have. I could do my own stickers. I would like to, so I need to take some time and dedicate it to myself and my own branding too. And I'd like to have like a URL and landing page for all of my online platforms. So I'd like to have it point to, to all have everything on one landing page so that it's easily accessible. I'd like to start creating. So eBay has a new thing where they have marketing banners. So I'd like to explore that and do some of that with my store. And I might want to refresh my eBay store look. And I do have a Poshmark design. If I do Etsy now, I want to bring my branding over there too. And I also would, extending into my personal goals, I need to get my graphic design portfolio website put together and published in 2022. So that is so that I can get graphic design jobs. And even when I do freelance work, I don't know if I'm going to go back to a full-time gig. I might, again, I'm thinking about it. But even when I do freelance graphic design work, I usually will send samples to people. It's so much easier if I just had my portfolio. I had one and I need to update it. And I didn't refresh the domain or renew the domain. So it's not live now, but I need to go back and add some of my work. And so that I could just say to people, here's my link, and they can see what I do. So that's what I want to do next. So I do have, I wanted to show, so this is my current store design. I like it, but it's, it's been a few years and I created it forever ago. So I might want to refresh that. I was thinking about branding myself Thrifting A on eBay too. I'm that
and
everywhere.
Just keep everything consistent.
Yeah, and then I can have the same consistent design everywhere. So that's a possibility that I've thought of. And then I also, so this is I do have a Facebook page, but I don't have, I don't have my actual portfolio website is what I want to get, and so, those are some of the designs I've done for other people. So I want to get my own branding up and running. So, and I would like to do, this is what I just did for Becky. I just did her business card. So I want to do like a cute business card that I can put into packages or package insert, something like that for myself, so I definitely want to get, I definitely want to get, I think it would help, make myself professional, and it definitely creates a good impression on buyers when you have good branding. So
yeah.
And it's kind of like, it's like the mechanic who always has the broken down car, here I am, I'm a graphic designer. I should have beautiful stuff too for myself. So that's something that I want to work on.
For sure.
Okay. So your next one is.
Okay. So this is more of a personal goal, but I really want to revamp my wardrobe.
I like this.
So, like I mentioned in my last goal, I definitely have a lot of stuff to declutter and let go of. But I think that once I start to organize my clothing and, admit to myself that it's time to let some things go, it'll also be clear that there are some pieces that I could really use to add to my wardrobe. And I tend to, especially when I thrift something and I thrift something that's just like a little funky and different, I buy it without really worrying about what I'm going to wear it with. And then when I want to wear it, I realize I don't have like the right outfit to put it with. I could use some more kind of like, I guess like foundational kind of classic pieces that go with a lot of things. So, you know, like a new pair of maybe dark jeans that are boot cut instead of skinny jeans, since
Yeah,
those are a
like
little
wardrobe staples.
exactly.
Yeah.
And my thinking is that I can use that money from selling the stuff I'm not using to then turn around and support other resellers. I definitely want to buy secondhand. I want to buy higher end brands than I would be able to afford new that I think will last me longer. And there's a couple like holy grail pieces that I've just wanted for years. And I think that I want this to be the year when I finally make those purchases. And like a big one for me, I would love an All Saints leather jacket. I've just wanted one for like a decade at this point. And even secondhand, they're going to be hundreds of dollars. But I would actually, I would feel so great to know I'm making a reseller's day and putting that money in the pocket of someone who does what we do, and just kind of supporting the community that
Yeah.
way with bigger purchases. So,
and you're keeping things up. It's environmentally friendly, of course, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Nellie says, yeah. You know what, Nellie? I will never get rid of my leggings because they're just so comfortable. But
I'm definitely like
maybe
more
refresh.
into wearing joggers out of the house instead of leggings, but or yoga pants, but I still wear mine all the time around the house.
Yeah. So that's a good one. I like that. And then my next one is to keep better accounting records. So this is like a yawner, but it's necessary. And again, Excel spreadsheets, I shudder, and I've tried before to keep the Excels, and then I always fall. Like, I start in January doing it, and then I always fall, and then tax time comes, and I know I'm cheating myself out of a ton of money because I'm not keeping proper records, and so I really want to start, in January, getting consistent with the Excel spreadsheet and keeping better records of, my receipts, of my expenses, of my costs, of the things I can write out. I'm thinking about finding, instead of doing my own taxes, finding a reliable CPA that can give me good advice and, and probably save money in the long run. Even though you're paying someone, you're probably saving money at tax time because they know better what expenses you're allowed and whatnot. So that is something, and I want to also explore. There might be some kind of software I can use, and something else that I know I should be taking better advantage of the tools offered on the platforms too. Like Poshmark has a whole Posh stats thing, and they just launched something new for sellers to really it's kind of nerdy, and I'm not into like the nerdy analytics, but I should be taking better advantage of some of those things and also seeing not just for accounting, but seeing like where I can grow, where I'm falling behind, so I think that would be a good thing to do. So I do want to, and then I'll just say this. I have like a bonus personal goal too. I do want to de-stress a little more because I've had so much anxiety. 2021 was a really stressful. I mean, 2020 was difficult with COVID and everything, but 2021 was, I think, worse for me because my dad passed away in January, and I'm still grieving hard, and it's been a tough year. Like I really haven't taken time for myself because I've been in such an intense grieving process all year, and I've been taking care of my mom, and I've got my kids. They were home for half of the year because of COVID still this year, and so I really think that there's some things that I can do in 2022 to really kind of de-stress and take care of myself a little more. I'd like to continue with my weight loss goals. I'm still not at the weight that I want to be at, and not because I want to look like I'm real skinny, or because I feel better. And I think that in turn decreases my stress. It decreases my risk of the cancer coming back. It makes me feel better. I can run up a flight of stairs now, or before I was like huffing and puffing. So I think that helps with stress. And get more sleep. I lack sleep. I'd like to find a therapist because I really, I could use some therapy. And I keep saying, oh, I can't afford it, but maybe there's a way that I can afford it. I know there's like online
Mm.
resources and whatnot, so I need to explore that. And then at least once a week, I want to start doing some self care, like if it's take a nice bath, lock the kids out of the bathroom, and have a cup of tea, read a book, even if I want to get a manicure once in a while, something like that. So that's all. I think that's
Great
all
plan.
important. Yeah, and it's important for mental health too.
So my final goal is super similar. It's
Yeah,
I
it
think
is. Yeah.
phrased a little bit differently, but I think that the undercurrent with all the goals, and I spent a while yesterday kind of brainstorming all of these things and like reflecting on my different goals for next year and sort of the past year and how it's gone. Um, and the underlying theme between all of them was just sort of avoiding overwhelm and noticing it when it happens and trying to find ways to keep that from happening in the future. And this is, in all areas of my life. So not just reselling, but definitely also in reselling. And like, I think even what you're saying about, like better bookkeeping, getting an accountant, like that
Yep.
falls under this for me too, because I definitely need to be doing a better job. Um, I used to be really good about using like a bullet journal or a day planner. And when I stopped working and I was, first really sick, it didn't make sense for me to worry about that because I didn't really have that much to be planning. But now I'm starting to do a little bit more. I also have a ton of doctor's appointments and things to keep track of.
Yep.
And I think just being on top of all of that will keep me from scrambling last minute and feeling like I'm constantly kind of trying to rush to keep up.
Are you talking about like old school planner, Lola?
Yeah, like an
Something
actual pen and
I
paper.
agree. I think that would work for me too. I say, oh, I've got the phone. I can put everything in my phone. But you know what? I never do. And I find that old school works better for me, like physically writing
Yeah.
things down and all. So I think that's a great idea.
Well, and
And
you
that's
get the
what you
problem.
could also buy from another reseller. So
Yeah, that's a great point. The problem with me for using the phone is that I do put things in my phone and then I forget where because I have my iCal, I have my Google Cal, I put things in my notes app, I
oh,
put
yeah,
things
that's true.
in,
Yeah.
I write myself an email. Like I forget exactly what I did to keep track of everything and then it just gets lost again. But if I have like one notebook that I use as my planner and I put everything in it, then I just know it's in there. So I think I'm going to do that. And then that's going to be my tool for setting my monthly goals and keeping track of them. So hopefully that will help me, with my other goals as well. And
Perfect.
then in terms of my inventory, just remembering that like when I let things pile up and I have huge profit piles that I have to list, it takes away from everything that I enjoy about
Yes, it does. It
selling.
takes away from the enjoyment factor. Yeah, because
It
you
makes me feel
get stressed.
guilty. It makes me feel like I can't go and source and I really shouldn't be sourcing. It makes me frustrated because, and I'll notice like I'll have steamed a pile of clothes and then I don't actually get to following up and like
Mhm.
photographing them. And then I have to steam them again before I photograph them. So I feel like I
Oh,
end up
that happens to
putting a
me
lot
too,
of work.
like, where you do double work, yeah, I've had that too, they ended up, like, in a pile somewhere, and then, like, they're all wrinkled again, it's like, great,
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. And so that's I think part of our like ADHD brains, but it's also just, those things
yeah,
happen
that's
when you have
interesting, 'cause
more items to
I
get
have
through.
undiagnosed ADHD for sure. My son is
Oh yeah.
diagnosed ADHD, and I know, like, he got it from
I
me.
I finally got diagnosed. I mean, we talk about this all the time, Nate. We have
Yeah.
like the same brain. Like
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we exactly. Yeah, that's why
yeah.
when you said old school organized, I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's for me
Mhm.
too." Because yeah,
Yeah.
we think a lot of the same way or yeah.
So that's going to be I think my theme for 2022 is
Perfect.
just not let myself get overwhelmed.
Well, I feel very motivated. This was a very
Me too.
motivating
This is
show, so I'm
great.
glad that we did this. And, yeah, I think and we can help keep each other in check too.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think it'll be really fun to do a couple shows, like a mid-year show, maybe like a mini segment every now and then, just kind of checking in.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Oh, Lisa, and that's the worst is cut checking the pattern pieces and cut sewing patterns is so
Oh, yeah.
tedious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, Lisa, yeah. Okay, so
Oh yeah,
I
I bet
Yeah.
there's good local resources around you to look into.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm sure.
Tina's name and
Yeah.
autocorrected.
Yeah. No, I'm sure there are. Like I have a ridiculously high deductible that is really not mentally health friendly. So basically, I go to a psychiatrist once a month. I pay her $100 once a month, or it's actually $120 now. She raised it, for a 15-minute session just to write me my prescription. That's all she does. She does not do any psychotherapy. So I just get my meds that way. But I would like to find there. And I do see that there are some resources online that are like you get an online therapist, but that might. So that is something that I'd like to. I like that, Tina.
Those are really beautiful ideas, Tina.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I am dreading. I know I don't want to put a damper on it here, but I am dreading the holidays. I'm dreading Thanksgiving. My dad was with us last year for Thanksgiving. He was at my house, and this will be the first Thanksgiving ever without him. And, but it would be nice to kind of, maybe set a place for him, make one of his favorite dishes, that kind of thing. It's
yeah. And Lisa has a great idea. I actually, I know Penn does that because I did that through Penn when I was first in Philly. So that's not as close for you anymore, but definitely a good resource. And for anyone else watching, thinking about finding a therapist.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way to get myself some therapy, because I really, after the loss of my dad, like I've been taking care of my mom, I've been taking care of my kids, and I really haven't talked to anybody thoroughly about my own feelings, like what I'm dealing with it. So plus I'm bipolar, so I should probably have a therapist anyway. Yeah. It's probably a good idea. So yeah, the first are hard. Yeah, it's this is the first really holiday season. My dad was in the hospital last year, so he wasn't for Thanksgiving, but for like Christmas and New Year's. So it was hard, but he was still alive, and so this is the first it's just this time of year is tough. So all right, so we do have some breaking news. Poshmark has introduced electronics. So Brian, if you're still in the chat, that is wonderful for you because I know you're gonna. So that's a perfect place for you to get started on Poshmark, and a lot of us too. A lot of you guys, if you're not comfortable with clothing and that kind of stuff, what Poshmark started out, you can now sell pretty much anything on Poshmark. You can sell home goods. You can sell. And now they have electronics. So this is great. You can sell cameras, cell phones, laptops, tablets, and it gives you a list of everything that you can sell here. So, so basically any electronics. So that's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
And let's see. So Poshmark appointed this guy, Rodrigo Brumana, as a chief financial officer. And the interesting part is that he joined Poshmark from Amazon, where he served as a CFO of Amazon Private Brands managing team of finance, business intelligence, and analytics professionals located across the world. So it's interesting that they hired a CFO that came from Amazon. That's kind of just an interesting thing there. What do you think?
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, I just I feel like Poshmark and the default to priority shipping means that they do kind of have this a little bit more of a like quick response mentality. I noticed this recently. I got a couple comments, people asking me, are you shipping like the next day? And so I do wonder a little bit if that Amazon like mentality of just really instant gratification is going to keep being something that we see in reselling. But that doesn't necessarily, just because he came from Amazon doesn't mean that's
and he's the CFO, so he's not like in charge of other things on the platform at the financial end. So we'll see. But it is interesting. And then so I have a couple collaborations that Depop and IMG Models launch a shop in support of Black in Fashion Council. So Black in Fashion Council is a council that they work with a lot of brands. I mean, Tory Burch, a lot of stores, a lot of different, and they basically support and hire and promote Black entrepreneurs and people in the fashion industry. So it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful cause. It's a wonderful thing. And I think it's pretty cool that they're working with Depop now. And then
I noticed I got a push alert from the app about that. And I did want to mention that I think that paying attention to Depop's push alerts, they always promote different sellers, and they mention what hot items that seller has. It's a really good thing to keep like on the pulse of what's selling on Depop, is just looking at their push alerts. They do a really good job with them. So like Poshmark, they're just annoying. Depop, they're really good to look at.
yeah. And then this is the other one that Depop has. Gossip Girl I've never watched Gossip Girl, but
Oh
I know
my gosh, you never watched? Okay, so I loved the original series, and I'm very, very tempted to watch the reboot. I'm like a little worried that it's going to compete with my like teenage memories of watching Gossip Girl. But
you're 10 years younger than me, so
yeah,
you're
true.
teenage.
I was the right age for it.
Yeah.
But
so
the fashion is just so fun. The outfits, it's
so they're having, I guess they're doing shops by characters. So there's an Aki, or I don't get how you pronounce that. There's Julian shop. And it's each shop is based on their each character, I guess. So there's 5 of them. There's Monet, there's Max. So like if I go into the Monet shop, for example, it's all, I guess, based on that character style. So that's kind of cool. You can see some of the items are, it's going to take a minute to load, but there we go. So yeah, so that's kind of cool though. I mean,
it's a creative collab, and it's cool to see the way that they are able to tie in secondhand stuff when you don't have mass produced items, to brand a certain way with like a collab, a brand collab like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And then we have our market report. So Lola, this is your item.
Yeah. So this is one of the ones where I was, are you going to ship today? She asked like 10 hours after after she purchased it. But thankfully, I had already had it packaged and waiting to be picked up. So this was a huge...
down there. I won't put her username up on the screen, but it says, "Hi, wondering if you were shipped today." I see that. Yes.
But anyway, it was small sale, but just nice to get this moving. Had it for a while. So
that's a good sale for Athleta. I think it's great. Athleta is one of those brands that's so expensive new, and it doesn't hold its resale value as well. I mean, I think it less lately. It used to hold resale value better, but it doesn't hold even less than Lululemon. I think it's Athleta is a Gap brand. So Lola, I think I told you about this on Poshmark. I had a buyer ask me if she would buy it, how soon I could ship, and could I ship express? She would pay extra. And I had to say no, because you have to use Poshmark's shipping with, and there is no express option. So I had to tell her, sorry, I can ship it today, but it's going to be priority. And that's 2 to 3 days. And there's no guarantee because of the delays with USPS. So she did not purchase it from me. Now, had I gone and purchased a label from USPS, I could have done that and had her pay me PayPal, but that was kind of sketchy because you'd be going up, and then I would have to get my funds released.
Right. You wouldn't have it scanned.
Her rating me, and if she didn't rate me, then she would basically just
I was hoping that there was a chance you'd keep looking for the item and find where you had listed it on eBay, but it sounds like she didn't do that.
No, because the other thing is, it would have been very.
You can't tell her go buy it on eBay, because then that's against the TOS, which makes sense. But
and someone could report me, and I could, get kicked off the platform, and I didn't want to take that chance.
No,
so
not worth
it would be nice if they did offer some kind of, like they have the 5 pounds, over 5 pounds. It would be nice if you could request like an overnight shipping label for people that wanted it. But right now there is no way. Anyway, side tangent there, but talking. So I sold I sold a bundle too, and she got a really good deal, because this Moschino dress has been sitting for a while. So I gave her the bundle for $70. I mean, 53, 54. The DVF skirt was sitting for a while. The Moschino dress was really cute, but it just wasn't moving. So I think she got a great deal.
So cute. She did get a good deal.
Got a really good deal. So Cheap and Chic is like their lower tiered diffusion.
Still very expensive.
It's still, yeah, it is. And it was a super cute dress, but I've had it for so long and it just wasn't moving. So I gave it to her with the bundle. And then this DVF skirt, it was the same kind of deal, like where it just wasn't moving. So I sold that bundle and I was happy. You know, she got a fantastic deal and I made some money. So and I didn't pay, like, I think I paid $8.99 for the dress and just a couple of dollars for the skirt at some point.
It's not bad. It's also kind of cool to see those items together because I feel like they make sense. Like the same buyer with the same taste would buy both of them.
So the funny thing is too, the buyer is from Beverly Hills.
Wow, very cool.
It went to Beverly Hills. Yes, it went to a high-end zip code there. So yes, which was very interesting. I think that was the first sale I've had to a buyer in Beverly Hills. But
that's cool.
So she obviously, so that's kind of cool because she's in an area where high-end fashion is the thing, and she's shopping on Poshmark secondhand. So that's pretty cool. So this was a Patagonia top, and the reason that I'm showing this is because you can see the brick background. It sat forever. That's my old house, but I got a host pick from my friend Chris, and it's the first time a host pick has ever sold during the party. So
wow,
she gave me the host pick and it sold pretty much immediately. So I took an offer. I think I had it up for like 28 and she offered me 23 and I was like, sure. And so it sold during the party. So that was a memorable one because that usually does not happen. So
that's so cute with the cowl neck too. I'm surprised it took so long to sell.
I know. And somebody actually messaged me a while back and told me that this is called an Umbra tank and it's pretty sought out after discontinued.
Yeah.
And that's your listing and it might help it sell. So I was like, that's really nice. And I did. And it just was not moving. So so I was happy that it sold during the party. Okay, so what are your 2022 goals as a reseller? We'd love to let us know in the YouTube comments. So and we love you guys to comment on our videos. Like our last few videos, we haven't gotten a ton of comments, and not that you have to, you're obligated to, but we love our viewer comments. So please, come and share your comments with us. And then you can find us, as always, everywhere. Lola is mostly Run Lola Run. I'm mostly Thrifty Nay, except on eBay where we are Coldbray Asterisk Dazzle and Low 2 Spy. And like we said, email us, naylothrifts@gmail.com. If you have show ideas, we need your show ideas. If you want to be a future guest, we'd love to have you. So let us know. And again, next week, no show. Happy Thanksgiving. And we hope you all have a great holiday with your families. And for those of you who celebrate Hanukkah starts on the 28th. So we hope that you have a wonderful Hanukkah too. So, and we'll see you December 3rd with an unknown topic. Maybe one of you can give us the topic. So,
yeah.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.